Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, I'm thrilled to chat with actor and director Ben Giroux. Ben voices the lead character Nate in the highly anticipated Nickelodeon animated series Big Nate, which is set to premiere February 17th over on Paramount Plus. Best known for his portrayal of the toddler in Nickelodeon's Henry Danger and the Danger Force franchise, Ben has appeared in over 100 episodes of television, including a recent recurring role in the Netflix sitcom The Big Show Show. He's verified on social media with a TikTok account with over 113 million likes and 4 million followers, and created the viral music video Back to the 90s, which amassed over 100 million views, charted on Billboard, and landed Ben on stage in Las Vegas with the actual Backstreet Boys. We discuss what he loved about making Big Nate, the fun of nostalgia, why he loves directing as well as acting, and so much more. It's a great interview, and I hope you enjoy.
Hey, what's up, Les?
Hey, Ben. Thank you so much for making time today. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for having me.
So, obviously, we're here today to talk about your big thing coming up. February 17th, Paramount Plus is going to put out a Big Nate cartoon. Big Nate was not a comic strip that I read when I was a kid. I'm a little bit older than you, so I think Calvin and Hobbes firmly took that spot. But I remember, like all of us, just flailing looking for anything else really good when Watterson retired, and that's when Big Nate came on my radar. I think was after that, looking around for something that was really quality and fun. And now all my friends' kids read them. I see Big Nate books all over, scattered around my friends' houses as they're frantically trying to pick up. Can you talk a little bit about getting the role, coming on board, and what the project's been like?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you so much for your kind words. I'm 37, so I think I missed like that initial Big Nate surge that so many people were a part of. So it's actually been a lot of fun for me to kind of retroactively go back and educate myself on the already enormous Big Nate fandom. It's obviously it stems from a very successful comic strip and series of books that have been going on since the 90s. And so there's certainly an added sense of responsibility in playing the title character that comes with playing a character that so many people already know and love, and for the first time, giving a voice to him. And I think the second thing that I've been focused on in booking this role is really trying to invite in a whole new generation of Big Nate fans, people that might not know about Big Nate. And so really trying to merge those two worlds has been a really fun challenge for myself and the whole team as we've worked on this for the last 2 years. I've had a great relationship with Nickelodeon over the years. I've played on camera. I've played the toddler on Henry Danger and Danger Force for almost a decade now. Certainly have voiced plenty of other projects with Nickelodeon. I've done tons of voices on The Loud House, Blaze and the Monster Machines, The Adventures of Kid Danger. I starred in Butch Hartman's final animated series at Nick Animation, Bunsen is a Beast. So already had a great relationship with Nick Animation and the studio in general. But Big Nate has really been a very special dream come true. I relate a lot to Nate. Nate is a cartoonist. He's a doodler. And I grew up drawing. I grew up almost going into the fine arts before choosing this very stable career in entertainment instead.
Calmed your parents down, said, "No, I'm going with acting and voiceover."
Exactly. So I see a lot of parallels there. In many ways, this is sort of a sixth grade do-over for me. Nate is this, mischievous, precocious kid who's got this ragtag misfit group of friends and has no trouble at least believing he's cool, whether he is or not. Sixth grade for me, I spent a lot of time sort of drawing, keeping to myself. I didn't really make friends very well. So, yeah, I'd say this is sort of a sixth grade do-over. I will also, the thing I really should point out is we have exclusively made this show during the pandemic. I booked this show the first week of the pandemic in March 2020, and we've all been recording remotely. So you'll see the first 8 episodes of it on Paramount Plus, and you'll never know that none of us have ever been in the same room together to make the show. It's all been recorded remotely. And, I think the reason I wanted to bring that up is it's been such a wonderful escape for all of us making the show, escaping into the world of Nate and PS38 every week for the last 2 years. And if I could sort of wish for one thing that people get from the show, it's to also experience that escape. PS38 doesn't have a pandemic going on. And so it's really been a really wonderful bright light in my life and so many of the lives of the team that's responsible for its creation.
I feel like over the last couple of years, we've seen that kind of remote collaboration kind of get its day in the sun again. That tech has been here and that's been possible for a while, but I think we always all had a fear that you wouldn't connect the same, or that your rapport wouldn't be that something would be different about the final product. And there's just not been an option. We just had to step up to that plate. So I think the most recent Taylor Swift giant double album, I want to say, was bounced back and forth between her and the collaborators and whatnot. I love that, small silver lining here, but I love that we've really kind of pushed forward and made ourselves get okay with the unusualness of it and find the benefits of this kind of remote work.
Yeah, and I would piggyback off of that and just say that I think our show is really unique and the first of its kind in that most animated series that have been created during the pandemic, it's just you and a recording engineer, and it's then just cobbled together in post-production after the fact. Our show has found a way to still record as an ensemble. So once a week, we get on Zoom, and we still have that beautiful back and forth between the cast. There's so much improv in our show, and so they still let us riff and react to one another, and so we still get that level of human connection and cast interaction that I think really makes the show magical in a way that wouldn't have been possible if we weren't recording as an ensemble. So even in COVID times, I feel very grateful we've been able to record as an ensemble.
I mean, I grew up on the same kind of cartoons, I think, that you probably did. And animation has changed so much. Obviously, the production timeline of these things has gotten a lot faster. Just across your career, has that changed for you, the amount of improv that you can do in an animated thing when you're not sending it off for 2 years to, or a year to another country to be slowly animated?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think every actor, sort of creates their own brand for themselves, their own vibe. And you stay in this industry long enough and people start to associate you with certain things. I know now, certainly with all my relationships with Nickelodeon and all of my on-camera work, people know that when they hire me, they're going to get riffing. They're going to get some improv. I'm a comedy guy. I'm an improv guy. So that's sort of, I'm proud of the fact that sort of is attached to my, I guess, my brand, I guess you'd say. I'm like you. I grew up watching Doug and Rugrats and Ren and Stimpy and all the OG Nicktoons. And so I think the thing that I appreciate most about our show is that it sort of harkens back to those original Nicktoons in that there's a real edge to the comedy. There's a real bite to it. And I think we're able to achieve that certainly through the wonderful, hilarious scripts from our writers, but also through that improvisation, through that cast interaction. And life sort of imitates art. They sort of coincidentally, my real life writing partner and improv partner, Arnie Pantoja, was cast as Teddy Ortiz on the show, Nate's co-conspirator in all of their hijinks and misadventures. So my real life improv comedy dynamic with Arnie is reflected in Nate and Teddy's dynamic on the show. And I think you'll see that come through.
I can't imagine there honestly being a way for you to stop doing that. I cannot imagine trying to go into a room with a good friend of mine that I write with and then just stick to just no, you guys tamp it down. No, stop it.
Well, and you know what? And I would say I give a lot of credit to our showrunner, Mitch Watson, who is a theater guy. He's a comedy guy, and he understands the way that Arnie and I like to riff off of each other and gives us the freedom and the sort of safe space to do so. Look, we'll say plenty of stuff in a recording session that's garbage that he's like, okay, well, we're not going to use that. But we also say stuff that, is not on the page that winds up in the final product. You'll watch the first few episodes of our show, and there's a lot of fun little asides and punchlines that seem off the cuff. And that's because they were. And I give a lot of credit to Mitch for giving us, the opportunity to put our own spin on the characters and our own kind of comedic riffing into the show.
Now, obviously, having seen you pop up on shows for years, I've heard your voice do a variety of things. Some more manic and crazed than others. When it came to dialing in Nate, I've got to think that that's a little different process than just your standard on-camera acting role. To get to maybe play with your voice more. Is that process different for you than when you're going to be on camera, when you're going to work out just a voice?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think a lot of it depends on certainly the style of the show, but also the scope of your character. For example, a lot of the on-camera stuff that I've done on Nickelodeon and on Disney, they hire me to be broad, like the toddler character I play on Henry Danger. He's super broad because he's a villain. He's a side character. So one of the things that I really took to heart being cast as the title character on Big Nate is that while we do have some broader characters on the show, the thing that I think really helps sell the hijinks and the misadventures and all of the fun things that Nate and his friends get into is a really grounded performance. And so Nate's voice is not too dissimilar from my own, maybe a little bit higher, but really it's all about the cadence. It's all about finding his inner confidence. So to me, it's less of like finding a tone in the voice and more just finding like an attitude for the character. And Nate, he's a kid that has insecurities, but he hides it quite well sometimes with thinking he's the coolest cat in the room and not minding about getting detention and really being fearless. I think that's one of the things I admire most about the character is his confidence and his fearless nature. And so letting that kind of dictate the performance and grounding him as a real kid with real moments of insecurities where, sometimes he starts to really question what he's doing, and like finding those moments too really helps provide some balance. I think back to our pilot, and my favorite scene from the first episode is Nate really questioning himself for the first time in a conversation with a character played by Jack Black, and needing to discover his inner awesomeness. And so I think finding those moments where Nate just feels like a real insecure kid, contrasting them with his moments of confidence, makes him feel fully developed and gives him a full arc. And certainly that grounded nature allows other actors on our show who might be, smaller side characters to be a little broader with their performances, because we can always go back to Nate's more grounded read.
Now, when it comes to something like Back to the 90s, just blowing up, what makes you decide, nope, this silly idea that's making my friend and I laugh, we've got to actually make it. We've got to get a hangar somewhere and do a full Backstreet Boys thing. Kind of what pushed it over the line, and was that the gestation of Small Red Cape, or were you already making shorts prior?
Yeah, no, it's a great question. I early on in my career, I viewed myself only as a television actor. I'm just going to focus on television acting roles, and I was working consistently, and that's all I was doing. But I will tell you, as a short man who is 5'2", there's only so many Christmas elves you can play before you decide you want something more for your career.
The David Sedaris problem, is it?
Exactly. So I was playing a lot of short guy roles, which I loved, and I still do here and there. But I really wanted to add, just some paths to my career. And so I've always been a creative. I've always wanted to be behind the camera in as much as I'm in front of it. I love creating content. I love making stuff. I love being on set with my friends. And so, in the early days of YouTube, I was running a few popular YouTube channels like FML and Failblog and Fred. And that really allowed me to sort of cut my teeth as a director and realize that I liked making stuff as much as I liked sort of being on camera as an actor. so that sort of led to the formation of my production company, Small Red Cape, that you noted. And it really sort of, things ratcheted up when I decided years ago I wanted to make a braggadocious sort of Busta Rhymes style music video about being short. I was like, okay, this will be a fun thing to sort of poke fun at all of those short guy roles I've been playing on television. So I teamed up with an indie hip hop artist, Jensen Reed, and we made a music video called Little Dude Anthem, which is basically me rapping as a Smurf for 3 minutes. and it did quite well. And Jensen and I sort of sat down and said, okay, well, what else sort of excites us? And we both kind of honed in on nostalgia. I love 80s and 90s nostalgia. And so, yeah, we've spent 2 years working on a music video called Back to the 90s, charted on Billboard, got 100 million views. We've landed us in Las Vegas with the Backstreet Boys. And that sort of led to a more traditional directing career for me. So I direct commercials and music videos now. We've directed TV pilots. And so all in the name of making stuff. I just want to make stuff, and it has always opened up some really fun opportunities outside of my traditional acting career. And certainly I'm seeing that reflected now with TikTok, which has been sort of the craze of the last couple of years. Got about 4.5 million kiddos on my TikTok page, and that's been really instrumental in helping to promote Big Nate, but also keep me creative during the pandemic.
Yeah, I think that's been a hugely important thing to every creative I've spoken to in the last couple of years is what have you been doing to keep that, not just to keep, your skills sharp or whatever, but so that we don't all go insane. Every writer I know, it's like you can see when, man, are you writing right now? Because you look a little nuttier than usual. Like everybody needs to get that out however they do, whether it's yelling at a football game or making sketches. So yeah, I've absolutely loved getting to watch some of the various videos. I am exactly the right age to be incredibly excited about the fact that you got to stop and collaborate with Vanilla Ice. Can you talk a little bit about that? What was that experience like getting to direct? Did you have any of the level of same nostalgia I do?
100%. So a lot, as you might imagine, after having a massive nostalgia music video passion project go viral for me with Back to the 90s, and then subsequent nostalgia passion projects have gone viral, I tend to get a lot of nostalgia related opportunities in my directing career. So this was a great project that came to me last summer. It was actually a branded commercial for Bar S Foods. But they were like, hey, let's do a parody music video of Sir Mix-a-Lot's Baby Got Back, except for this, it was Baby Got Buns, and they got Vanilla Ice on board. And working with Rob was a blast, obviously fueled with nostalgia. He's one of the nicest guys in the world, treated me and my team really, really well. And he was just down. He was down to play. He was down to try things on set. It was so much fun. One of my favorite things, in addition to nostalgia, is parody. And so we had both of those things and then some on set for our music video. And, again, it's another example of, hey, you go out, you make your own passion project, and suddenly I'm directing a Vanilla Ice music video as a result. And, it's just great. I've been so grateful and lucky as a director to work with so many talented, celebrity talent in so many of the projects that I've been able to sort of run. I always have this moment with my producer, Scott. We always look at each other on one of our sets as if to say, what the hell are we doing? Can you believe we're actually directing Vanilla Ice dancing on a 15-foot hot dog right now? But that's a, typical day in Hollywood, right?
Yeah. Just, hey, stay quiet. Everybody thinks we're doctors. Don't blow it. That's great. Thank you so much for chatting with me about it all today. Obviously, folks can check out Big Nate on Paramount Plus, February 17th. I'm really enjoying that. There's 1.5 million streaming networks now. Paramount Plus is one of the ones that I'm actually paid for and enjoying. So I think everybody ought to go out and check that out. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, really appreciate it, man. It was great chatting with you, and thanks so much for watching the show. I think people are going to really like it.
TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/tvdudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.